Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Week 4 of the Corporate Esports Association Fall 2020 Starcraft 2 season. I am here today. I am your host, Eagle Searcher, here today with casters Big Tasano and Observer Damn Glam. Say hello, guys.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey there. Starcraft Saturdays.
All right, sorry for a slight delay. It seems that they're taking a little bit extra time to get everything set up, but we're just getting the final logistics in set, and we'll be getting into map number 1 shortly here in our match today between the Red Hatlings and Google 1E100 ads per minute.
Yep. It's going to be a good match today, starting off with a ZVZ to get started between Cyril and Tiskuzzy. Is there a pause there?
Yeah, so a ZVZ. Seen a lot of Zerg out of Red Hat. Of course, last week we saw the all Zerg lineup. Opting to pull their Protoss boys out for a couple of games this week. Get a little bit of a change.
Okay, looks like we got a lobby going. I'm going to request an invite. There we go.
Just getting our final logistics in order. Making sure everybody's in the lobby. And all right. Sorry, it's a little bit of just a few technical difficulties this week. Our normal Hatlings captain, the one and only Zip, missing in action, enjoying some wonderful beach weather. I'm sure you're out there watching this, Zip, rooting on the team. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine, the good weather, and some good StarCraft to come.
That's right. I'm a big fan, I must say, of the thumbnail or logo for this team. That spam box, it's not something we all see much these days, but many of us are familiar with it growing up.
I have certainly seen quite a bit of spam on the web myself, but that's the nature of the Google team name there. Ads per minute. Nothing like 1E100, that Google of APM.
That's right. And here we go, getting ready to kick off the game, and we'll do our player announcements in just a second.
That's right.
But, yeah.
So we're going to be...
go ahead.
Just a second.
And, so happy to have a ZVZ to start off, and in the top left corner of the screen,
we have our Zerg wearing the blue trunks for Google. It is Tiskuzzy.
That's right. And in the bottom right corner, playing for Red Hat, we have Cyril.
Certainly not to be confused with the man himself, the giant, the legend, Cyril. Or maybe he is. Who knows? We do know Cyril, a European player on the Red Hat squad. Unfortunately, just a little bit of lag there. It looks like one of our Google players trying to bring down the internet doesn't like what he's seeing.
That's right. But regardless, we have a pretty early pool from the Red Hat player and some Lings already in production, the classic 6 Lings.
That's right. It looks like Cyril wants to get a little bit cheeky, going pool and Lings before hatch. He's going to have a lot of Lings out on the map. Want to be very aggressive, try to punish his opponent for going with that sort of standard macro hatch first. But the Overlords are coming across the map. We'll see if he can avoid being scouted.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be key. It does not look like he's going to avoid it. Oh, That's close. I believe those lings were in vision of that overlord.
But it matters is whether Tizcuzzy was paying attention.
Yeah, he does immediately queue up a bunch of lings, so it does look like he saw that. And but this hatch is gonna take a good bit of damage before he can do anything about it.
That's right. Those 6 lings about ready to pop, with speed on the way, but it won't. It'll be enough to drive these lings away from Cyril. But 2 more lings walking up. A few more lings just continuing to come across the map for our green Zerg here. Tizcuzzy, that hatch starting to get really low, and Cyril, just a little bit of micro battle there. Tizcuzzy does have the defender's advantage, is going to be able to reinforce his army much quicker. You see Cyril hot on the trigger with that ling micro. That hatch getting so low now, but so many lings in the red. Tizcuzzy successfully holds off that aggression.
Yeah, and now he does have the earlier hatch, and so he's going to be able to get things going. But the game does look pretty even. That being said,
yep.
Just a bunch of queens shooting at things and shooting at flying blimps with feet on.
Yeah, an interesting sort of turn of events is Cyril has actually taken the worker lead, and his hatch is done. So it basically puts Cyril at the economic advantage. But so many lings from our Zerg coming in, trying to even the score. Those queens there, they're going to block that ramp, keep those lings from getting up into the main. Already losing a lot, though.
Yeah, nice positioning here. Create a choke point for those lings to lessen the blow, but this is too many lings for him to deal. It's got that spine trying to get back in position, but it's going to get caught out, and this is looking bad for Cyril.
Yeah, using the drones, trying to kill what's left of those lings. Taking a beating here. Now 8 workers dead. Just now noticed the spine never burrowed. Lots of lings pop. That's going to drive off Tizcuzzy, but the damage has been done. Cyril down to 7 workers, and more and more lings starting to flood in.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. He's going to try to block the ramp, reduce that surface area. All about, but you can only hold off for so long. There's the GG.
Man, a quick first game out of our match today. Game 1 going to Google.
Yeah, pretty fairly typical of a lot of ZVZs we've seen so far this season, in that one of the 2 players, if not both of them, goes for early aggression, and yeah, this one was a bit different. The player that struck first was overwhelmed by a player who committed even harder after on the counterattack.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice there. There was a moment where after Cyril sort of didn't put a lot of pressure, wasn't able to get the cancel on the hatch. That would have been incredibly clutch, being able to shut down his opponent's natural. Not only the economic hit, but losing so much of that larva production early on. But you saw Cyril maybe not wanting to commit to the pressure too much. Had been building a lot of drones back at home, and was even on economy despite the earlier pool and lings. And maybe thought he would be safe. Maybe he thought Tizcuzzy was just going to stay at home and defend up. But Tizcuzzy took the initiative and just marched across the map, built a bunch of lings of his own, and was able to provide the killing blow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just committed further, and it worked out. But we have plenty more Starcraft coming up today, and so we are going to be getting ready to go into Game 2. The players are discussing which server, because of course we do now have a Google player who's in the EU, whereas the Red Hat player is in the States. So they're just figuring that out, what we're going to do about that.
That's right. Just a little bit of logistics and coordination, but we'll be going into game number 2 on Old Forgotten Temple, a PvP, following the vein of our mirror matches today. A blind man and Cicero gonna go at it.
That's right. The PvP on Old Forgotten Temple. So another mirror match to start the day. Can a blind man see Cicero? So I'm now looking up who Cicero is, and I see that he was the ruler of Rome around the turn of BC and AD, just before. He was beheaded, if you care to know. That is how his reign ended.
As did a lot of the classic Roman emperors, at least the ones we know about.
That's right. But yeah, the players are working on getting the lobby ready, and so just bear with us a moment.
Yeah, we'll be on Old Forgotten Temple. This is a little bit of a different map, one that I haven't personally seen a whole lot of. Coming out of the Team Liquid map contest, the latest one, number 14, a little bit of a rush map. Short distances, sort of a lot of paths to your opponent. Notably, the theme for our CEA map pool this week was let the students decide. Our collegiate side for CEA had a vote, and this was the map they voted. Map A and Map B, the same map, Old Forgotten Temple. Should be a good one, especially PvP. Lots of opportunity for Shees.
Yep. So here we go. We're waiting on just kind of seeing if we got everybody in the game. And we will be ready to get started with our match. So PvP I just listened to Mana talk about PvP, and they're saying the meta has kind of shifted away from early aggression and back towards longer games, longer macro play. So
yeah, I think we were seeing a lot of Protoss players who are getting very good at defending, able to just drop those shield batteries down, and plug in the holes with stalkers, getting the walls, just able to kind of defend, and then come out with void rays or something other along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. That ability to overcharge your shield batteries definitely gives a bit of a defender advantage. And but yeah, regardless, it looks like the game is loading. So here we go. More Starcraft on the way between the Red Hatlings and Google's 1E100 ads per minute.
Alright, our map is loading in now here between a blind man and Cicero. The real question, can a blind man see what Cicero is about to throw at him?
The real question to me is, what's the difference between an old forgotten temple and a lost temple?
A little bit of good manners coming out from our players here, and we'll get started with our introductions. Starting in the lower left corner, wearing the blue trunks for Google, it's Cicero.
Right, and in the upper right corner, playing for Red Hat, it is a blind man.
You do have to ask yourself, how is a blind man playing StarCraft?
I often think about that. Were I to get blinded, I would want to see how that affected my gameplay.
I mean, there's sort of a couple of different hotkey setups. You can go with the standard classic. Change it up, do the QWERTY style. Maybe he's using Braille.
Yeah, could be. Sound can tell you a lot in StarCraft.
That's right.
It's not to be underestimated.
Just like that warp-in sound as buildings are coming in, very distinctive. Everybody knows that sound. They really should know that sound. Good sign that maybe a Protoss is building in your base. Shouldn't be. But we see now out of Cicero going ahead and opting for 2 gateways right off the bat. This is a little bit of an aggressive build. Going to get that cyber core down basically at the same time. Allow him to get a few extra army units out. I wonder if he's planning for some early aggression.
You know, it does look like it, but we'll see. The players' builds are not too dissimilar as of right now, but they are getting lots of information about what each other is doing, as we can see here. The full ongoing scout continues.
It is sort of a classic Protoss conundrum. When you have such good scouting information, you see what your opponent's doing, you're sort of stuck in the situation where you sort of need to mirror him. If you don't go ahead and get gateways up to counter his gateways, you have the potential of just dying when his army rolls in. Of course, when you see the Stargates,
right.
you need to build your own Stargate units. If you see the Robo, you're going to have to counter with your own Robo. So it's a little tough here in this mirror matchup.
That's right. And the only difference we see here emerging is what you've got on camera right now, and that's a proxy of some kind, and a ability to get closer to enemy base and reduce the time it takes to get there. But we do have stalkers moving out, so it looks like the Google player wanting to put on some pressure.
That's right.
And see what accomplishes.
Well, Blind Man's going to scout this Nexus going down, so he's going to know that his opponent's not committing to building a whole lot more military. Blind Man has 2 Stalkers of his own, as well as a Sentry. Looks like he will lose this, or get a cancel on that shield battery there at the wall. But 2 Stalkers and a Sentry should be more than enough to fend back these 2 opposing Stalkers. 3rd Stalker walking out. The 2 Adepts show up now, though.
Adepts coming in, though. It's going to create a bit of a flank there, but does decide to finish the shade. Now he's got army split up on both sides, and he's going to have to make a decision on what he wants to do here.
Yeah, it seems that a Blind Man has gotten to Cicero. They're trying to shade up into the base, built the pylon there, but canceled it at the wrong minute. Still able to get the shade into the base and going to start going to town on the mineral line, starting to hack away at those workers, but is able to take them down before getting too much damage.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, it looked like the Blind Man saw right through his plan.
But now we see more and more Stalkers being warped in by Blind Man, but doesn't have that Nexus down. It's a critical economic advantage for Cicero right now. Has that 2nd Nexus, he's going to be able to start getting more and more workers, boost that economy. Both players going to have the Robo. One of them is going to be able to afford units out of it.
Yep, so that, you know, Immortal in PvP, especially with Stalker-based armies, an Immortal can turn the tide of a battle pretty much immediately. So we do have one in production, but it is going to take a little while to get down there and defend this Nexus. So you might see a force field of some kind. Players get a little tricky there when you got a ramp involved. Yeah, and there it is.
Good force field from Blind Man, I believe, trapping those 2 Stalkers on the low ground. He's going to just keep poking away at this Nexus, preventing his opponent from mining from it. It's going to give him the chance to get back in the game economically, but decides to pack up and go home. Cicero too scared to walk down the ramp to realize that his opponent's not there anymore.
Yeah, a good decision by a Blind Man. You know, sometimes you see players that are not at the pro level really overcommit on attacks and end up losing more than they needed to, but he decided he did some good damage, denied him from using his base for a long while, and left.
That's right, and his Nexus just now finishing. Pretty much keeping it fairly even. A Blind Man down a couple of workers. He should be able to bring that back with a little bit of chrono action, but slightly behind on the army count. That Warp Prism is out for Cicero now, and he's going to be looking to do a little bit of harass of his own. Maybe getting those Immortals juggling in and out of that Warp Prism. So annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it sure is. So yeah, we just see a little bit of a difference in builds from the players here, but not a whole lot. We've got this hallucinated Phoenix coming over to do some scouting, but you know, these Immortals are really the key units to keep alive.
Another minor difference here. We do see the Forge is down for Cicero, opting to go ahead and start on +1 weapons. It's just sort of the advantage of getting that little bit of extra econ out early, able to squeeze in those upgrades. A Blind Man opted for Zealot legs, so going up the tech path rather than pure upgrades. Has reestablished a small worker lead, growing a little bit, but Cicero bulking up himself has a slight army advantage, and this Warp Prism, it's going to be so difficult for a Blind Man to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. He's, depending on how he can micro that, you know, without, you might think Blink would be a more common pick here, but did go for the Zealot legs. So it's going to make it very hard to deal with the Warp Prism and the ability to maneuver.
Yeah, especially
so we'll see,
units that are going to be dealing with this Warp Prism, those Stalkers, they're just going to get chewed alive by those Mortals. When Mortals pop out and they get ready to start hammering on that worker line. 5 workers already down.
Yep, does react to push that Prism back, but only minor damage on it, so he's going to be able to keep that alive and continue to poke holes at the base here. All the meanwhile, while he takes his 3rd base back home.
Yes, the good move by Cicero. Expand behind your attack, because if you're attacking your opponent and his army's at home, that's the safest place your expansion could possibly be.
Pops back in with there, goes to try to take that pylon out, but does take some good damage on the Prism. Got to be careful. But
moving to Sandwich
again,
now. He's got units on the high ground and the low ground, going to drive that Prism back into the Void area. Stalkers know all about working with the Void.
Yeah, that's right. So he's gonna really push that away. He's got nothing that can shoot up down there on the ground, but it's gonna keep him busy, and we do see Blink being researched now, so that's gonna make it really easy to deal with that Warp Prism.
Yeah, +2 weapons started for Cicero now. Blind Man about halfway through his +1, as well as Zealot legs for Cicero, but looks like a Blind Man's going to have that slight tech advantage, but the upgrade advantage is going to go to Cicero, and especially with this Econ. Doesn't look like Blind Man ready to move out and take that 3rd yet, just trying to clean up that Warp Prism. But supply count very even so far. We'll see what the players decide to do. We see some High Templar coming out for Cicero.
Yep, looks like it's not for Storm, which is less common in PvP, but really just used for Archons. Our armies need a mix of damage, and you got your light damage, you got your heavy damage, and you got your splash damage. And Archons give you your splash.
That's right. Dealing with those sort of hordes of Zealots in the front lines, able to clean up those tanky units really quickly. Blind Man starting to move out. This is a little bit of a scary army. He's bulking up himself. Has the army advantage for the moment. Built his own Archons. Quite a few Immortals in there as well. Is going to look to put some damage on this 3rd from Cicero.
That's right. He's going to move in, take out some workers, and Cicero going to react. Try to pounce on top of him here. It does nicely move back and prevents many losses. These players' armies are very similar in size and composition, really, but does have the defender advantage on the side.
Just missed his timing, by the way. Those shield batteries came up just as he was attacking in. Such a critical difference, especially with those Archons. Being able to keep their shields charged up just makes it so hard to attack into this position. He's going to draw the fire away. I'm not sure. I thought maybe he was going to try to go around with that army as he sent those Zealots in, but coming back now, seems just a little undecided in what he wants to do.
Yeah, perhaps he thought Cicero had his army away from his 3rd, but he had not. So yeah, Blind Man just going to step back and maybe see if he can get an attack in on the natural here. These players do have to be careful. Both have force fields available. Can really split each other's armies.
Cicero
denies the Prism.
Notices the attack in the back, but that Warping of Zealots is not going to be able to support this frontline action. Cicero just a little bit more army here, and no Warp Prism to support the Blind Man's army, so taking a lot of damage backing out. Looks like Cicero is probably winning this fight.
He is, but meanwhile, his 3rd is taking some damage. Does get cleaned up. So Blind Man went for a bit of a split army strategy there, but perhaps committed too much on the main fight and now he's in trouble.
That's right. Is that? I think that Nexus is slightly off. Is it not?
Yeah, it does look one square
But Cicero,
off.
following Blind Man across the map, smells blood in the water, collapsing in on what's left of Blind Man's army. Army supply rapidly falling. Not much left for Blind Man to defend here. Cicero taking a commanding lead, able to shut down the third. Zealots coming in, but that's not going to be enough. GG is called. Google takes game number 2 in our series.
That's right. Yeah, the players, they had pretty close to mirror builds for much of the game, and just taking a look at the army graph, we can see it was that decisive fight. Blind Man took, and also going up a ramp, we should say, which is something you have to do sometimes in StarCraft, but it can really snowball one direction or the other if you get an engagement in a position like that. And just didn't go his way this time.
That's right. Yeah, Cicero taking these little small advantages here and there, getting his Nexus out just a little bit earlier, getting his third a little bit earlier, and sort of correctly predicting the tech paths, and just able to sort of build up these small advantages until he was just able to overwhelm Blind Man. Blind Man going for a little bit of multi-prong harass, but wasn't able to pull it out. Cicero just a little too quick on his map awareness and recognition. That was a 2-0 lead now for Google. We'll be going to map number 3 here shortly on Submarine between Velocitas for the Red Hatlings and P and Kill for Google APM. A PVT.
Yeah.
A little bit of a change-up in our so far. Only seen mirror matches. This is going to give us a chance to see a little bit of a different meta out of our teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be nice to see a PVT, a non-mirror, and also a Terran player. As Terran mains. Well, I can't call you a Terran main anymore. You have left the world of to join the.
I main all races.
That's right. You treat everyone equally. So it looks like the players are just deciding what to play on. We've got some players scattered across the globe, and so just deciding on servers. But I'd like to welcome Damglam to join the cast as well. I'll be checking out in a few minutes. Got to head out, but hoping to catch the first few minutes of the game here and see some PVT.
That's right. So we'll be on Submarine LE, which is a ladder map here in 2020 Season 3. Once again, a little bit more of a rush map. You get these short distances. Army's able to walk across the map very quickly. Able to do a lot of damage to your opponent.
That's right. And we're about to get started here. It is a fun map to watch. I really enjoy playing on this map and watching on it. But looks like the players are. Velocitas has got to select his race. I would love to see him play Terran, but I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, just a slight error there. You got to pay attention, so you don't want to start a lobby and have the wrong race selected.
It would make for an entertaining game, but probably not with Red Hat ones. And so, we will be starting in just a second to give you the third and hopefully not last game of the series, but it is match point for Google with a 2-0 lead over Red Hat.
Right, we'll see if Velocitas can bring it back for our Hatlings, or if P and Kill, our APM captain, can seal the deal for Google.
I got to give it to Google. The logos, names, pretty clever. P and Keel. If anyone's a fan of Keen and Peele, the show, comedy show, pretty good. So, but anyway,
that's right. Starting in the upper left corner here on Submarine, we have our red Terran For Google, it's P and Kill.
That's right. And in the bottom right corner, playing for the Red Hatlings, it is Velocitas.
Got a little bit of a palette swap here. You know, normally we see our boys from Red Hat wearing the red trunks, and looks like Velocitas opting for blue today. P and Q picking up the slack, taking on the red team. We can see there, Google supporting Child's Play charity, worthy cause for them. And
that's right.
Red Hat supporting Humanity Forward. So a couple of good charities that we're playing for today. Of course, CEA, a charity tournament. All our corporate teams are showing up to play for charity. The winner at the end of the day, at the end of the tournament, is gonna CEA will cut them a big check for the charity of their choice. And always excited to see money going to a good cause for doing something we enjoy.
That's right. What gets better than that? Watching the games you like and doing a good thing at the same time. But PvT is a really fun matchup to watch, particularly because you have probes building stuff in right outside your opponent's base in the corner.
That's right. We'll see if they scout that. That's a cheeky location, right outside, effectively the third.
It is, and you see this factory going up in that position.
Not going to be close enough to see it. Velocitas building on the correct side. You want to keep that probe hidden if you can. Building a second pylon there for the Stargate. Looks like P and Keels might scout this, though. He's got that instinct. He knows something's up.
Oh, he is definitely going to see it. And this, of course, is a Void Ray Rush, most likely. And so he's going to be able to do all he can to shut this down. And he does have the reactor going up, but most likely he's going to get the tech lab on the buildings up there and push out a cyclone or something like that to deal with this.
That's right. An interesting choice from Velocitas, getting a bunch of pylons down, making sure that P and Keel couldn't shut down the Void Ray Rush just by pylon blocking. But that Reaper in the mineral line, that might be a problem. Nothing at home for Velocitas to deal with it. Stalker almost out. He'll be able to chase him away, but losing several probes in the process. 2 dead now. One dangerously low in the red, takes him out, losing to Reaper.
And Velocitas has got to remember to put those probes back on gas is a key thing here. But Void Ray does pop. Cyclone's about to pop. You know, Cyclones are very good at dealing with Void Rays. And so as long as you don't get them on top of you like that, does not want to lose the Cyclone. Does lose the Cyclone.
Wow. But that Void Ray in red and the Viking about halfway out. Another Cyclone on the way. Has all the units he needs to defend this. Velocitas continuing to drop some shield batteries. Really wants to keep that Void Ray alive. Taking that Tech Lab out would be so big.
It would, but that Viking popping with SCV and Marine cover is going to be able to put out a good amount of damage. Second Void Ray pops, so he's going to see what he can do. Is going to have to deal with another Cyclone in just a second here. Likely not going to make the same mistake and have it get picked off.
Okay. Well, but the shield battery deals with all that damage it's taking. We do see a pretty nifty skin for the Viking there. Second Viking pops. This is looking dangerous. Both sides wielding sledgehammers.
Oh, Cyclone. Let's get the Cyclone, which definitely needed that to happen to have any chance, but still going to be very tough. Viking, bunker.
Velocitas doing a lot of damage, able to take out a lot of Marines, taking out those Cyclones. P and Keel has to relocate his base to the other side. Still on one base for both teams. Trying to get cheeky, pick off that, and he's going to lose another Viking. So the loss is mounting for Velocitas. These units are very expensive.
That's right. And Void Rays, of course, move very fast when they're not shooting, but quite a bit slower when they are. And just have to be careful when he commits to his targets, not get caught out.
But with so much attention being paid to these Void Rays, this 2 Stalkers and a Depth going to start picking away at that front wall. Is going to have to be choosy about where he decides to focus his attention. Almost getting that reactor down, but that SCV doing heroes work, keeping it alive. Even Briggs of Probe can start attacking the wall. Everybody's pitching in the Protoss effort.
Yeah, we got all kinds of, this is really nicely played by both sides. He did pick off a Viking when he was intention was focused in the front. He gets another Viking. Just going to continue this kind of two-pronged setup here with these 5 batteries able to support these Void Rays.
The Marines in that bunker just doing so much damage. Almost loses 2 Void Rays there. Those Void Rays such low health. All they have to do is burn through the, and it's just so much DPS. Pops 1 Void Ray immediately, and this might be it for Velocitas.
Yeah, he's really committed pretty strongly to this attack, but we should note, though, that neither player does even have a second base built. So I would say if Pete and Keel had a second command center already, he'd definitely be in a strong lead, but he does not. So anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, at this point, Pete and Keel is so heavily defended here. I'd like to see Velocitas maybe decommit to this, stop dumping money in those Void Rays. And GG's a little early. I think he was maybe thought he was a little further behind than he was, but unfortunately, with the Terran victory here, that is going to put us at 3-0 in favor of Google.
Yeah, definitely not the result maybe we were hoping for. Get some more Starcraft and give Red Hat a chance to get a point on the board. But it was a nicely played game by both sides. I think there were several points when that game was winnable for Velocitas. And just those little decisions, you know, that Pete and Keel made to keep those units alive, keeping that reactor up at a key timing, and doing what he can to just fend off this proxy attack.
Maybe a little bit of a premature GG, as you said. Neither side had an expansion up. Maybe if cut a couple of those shield batteries, cut a Void Ray, and suddenly you have a Nexus, and the Protoss army with an economic advantage can be so scary. Terran having to commit so many resources, dropping those 2 bunkers in the base. Ultimately, that bunker with the 4 Marines in it, I think that was the killer for Velocitas. Just couldn't keep up with the DPS from those Marines.
Yeah, exactly. It was just nicely played, and excellent. Just getting the right composition of units. You get Vikings and Cyclones are the worst enemies for Void Rays. Marines aren't bad either, so it's just kind of a perfect storm of challenges for him. But it was nonetheless an exciting game to watch.
Absolutely. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and jump into game number 4 here. We're going to play it for fun. It'll be between Red Hat Cephalopod and Google's Who You.
That's right. And with that, Damn Glam, if you join the casting team, I'm going to head out for the day. Unfortunately, not going to be able to catch this game, but I will be watching later.
All right.
And so, good casting with the Eagle.
Thanks for joining us, Big Toe. And what do you say, Damn Glam?
Enjoy the afternoon, sir. We're going to have more Starcraft, so we're going to sit here and enjoy ourselves.
That's right. So, looks like we're getting the lobby ready. We'll be kicking off this 4th map here very shortly here on Death Aura. Death Aura. A little bit of an interesting map. It's got a different design from a lot of some of the other maps on the ladder. Sort of a safe 3rd. Able to kind of get a lot of macro up early, but beyond that, it starts to get tricky as map control through most of the map becomes really important in that mid-game. But we're jumping into the game now, about ready to introduce our players. starting in the upper left corner, wearing the purple trunks, appropriate for our Zerg from Red Hat. It is Cephalopod.
And in the bottom right for Google, I don't know, billions of ads per minute with their can of spam, it's going to be, who, you?
No, who you?
No. Who are you?
That's right. Interesting names we have here in CEA. A lot of creativity from our players, both in our battle tags, as well as our team names. Google really taking the cake here. This probe's going to get here just in time to block that natural going down. Cephalopod, having none of that, he's just going to go ahead and take the next base. No harm, no foul. Just a probe up to a little bit of mischief. Protoss continuing to sort of macro up here. Scouting our Zerg, seeing what's going on. No pool quite yet. Is getting that gas down. Looks like that drone was pulled. Going to start the pool, and very standard opener for our Zerg against Protoss. Protoss opting for a very standard open himself. Starting the wall. Hit 400 minerals. Going to drop that Nexus. Pro probably really confused, wondering where the expansion for the Zerg is. Maybe hasn't realized yet that Cephalopod just opted to expand to another base, but is going to go ahead and pull the drone or the Pro back. Maybe he's going to expect something cheeky, a one base play, a one base roach, and bulk up for that. Be ready to defend at home. If that's the case, Cephalopod would have a little bit of an advantage going ahead and getting this econ play going.
Yeah, I think it's going to go for the long game. I did go back and check. It did see the probe did wander over just in range and did pick up that he does know where the expansion is, so he knows nothing funny is going on. Overlord just peeked in. Everyone knows nothing funky going on, so looks like we may go into a little bit of a long game. Finally getting down the third natural there in the correct place.
The classic third base in your natural base happens a lot, with that hatch timing. Just want to make sure you want that third base up and it's safe, so you might as well go ahead and take it if you've been diverted from your natural. Knows with that scouting overlord that there's nothing out to kill him just yet, but who you starting to build some units, getting that adept out. That adept's going to hold the door so the stalker can defend the main base, deal with any nasty overlords flying over that cliff there. And we do see overlord speed coming in for Cephalopod, such a vital tool for Zerg to do scouting with. The Stalker in perfect position, knows where his Zerg opponents are coming in on this map, and Pneumatized Carapace almost done. We're going to see he is committed, and that Overlord starts zooming, is going to see virtually nothing. Both gases saturated, but did not get a glimpse of that Robo Bay and the Robo Bay and
the gig is definitely up now, because that other Overlord can swing it in and knows there's a warp prism, but nothing else beyond that. And then gets tucking into the corner there to be pulled back out later on for some additional scouting, getting the creeps spread up, making sure he can run around the map, get a little bit of flexibility of movement there. Looks like he's just getting some other Overlords in position there.
And he's going to pick up a couple of those Adepts and start moving across the map, maybe do a little bit of harassment of his own while he's waiting to build up that Colossus ball. First Colossus about 2/3 of the way done. And opting for Prism speed instead of Colossus range.
Looks like he's probably going to want to get in and out a little bit faster with the warp prisms. Definitely helps avoiding any spore crawlers if it does getting any defense down for that. But Definitely going to do a little bit of damage
Yeah,
here.
those Adepts, they are getting some damage done. 3 out of 4 of them decide to shade in. The 4th shade gets caught by those queens, unfortunately, but is driving the workers around. Going to shade down to the main, and just continuing to do a lot of damage. Roaches are here. Roaches will clean up the Adepts, but the Adepts, they're just going to shade out. Canceling that shade. Cephalopod committing a little too heavy to the... needs to split those roaches up to deal with wherever those Adepts are going to be. Looks like he's going to clean them up now. Those Adepts so low. And ends the Protoss threat. Workers get shuffled around quite a bit. Cephalopod still with the worker lead. That Disruptor now out for Hu Yu. Hu Yu has now built every Robo unit. Built the Warp Prism, built the Colossus, built the Disruptor, now building an Immortal. And it's going to come in with the Colossus now. That Colossus is going to do so much damage to all of these ground units for the Zerg. That Warp Prism speed really coming in handy right now. Able to zip around. Pick that Colossus up, drop him where he needs to be, and get him out of dodge when he's ever threatened. A little bit of a Protoss ball coming up now. Mostly roaches for the Zerg. That's going to be an interesting to deal with. We're going to have to see what the micro looks like out of our Protoss. A lot of sentries. Is going to hope to get a good set of force fields. Hopefully lock those roaches in place so that it can get some of those nasty disruptor shots off. So much splash damage for the Protoss right now, and just not a lot to deal with it from the Zerg. Observer shows up and starts picking off some of those creep tumors, and the roaches decide to counterattack, pulls the boys, but the force fields, they stop the attack. Zerg pulling everything he has into a ball right now, coming in on this Protoss, but just isn't able to counter, just such a hard counter to what he has right now. Another set of force fields, just going to keep them off his back, and so many units just keep being warped in for our Protoss. Just roaches to defend, 9 more roaches in production. Tries to get a disruptor shut off, it's just slightly too far. They move in. They want to start sniping some of these high-value units, mostly picking off Stalkers so far. Another set of force fields is going to... Thermal Lance about to be done for our Protoss. It's going to give them so much range, and a big disruptor ball forces the roaches back. More and more roaches. 24 lings in production, as well as 7 roaches. Just both sides trying to bulk up so hard. Zerg with the massive economy lead, effectively sitting on 3 base. He could afford to lose this, but he still needs to be able to kill this Protoss army. This Protoss army looks like it wants to deal with the Zerg for good. This is a killing army. Second Colossus shows up. So much splash damage going down on those roaches. Those roaches, they're beefy, they're tanky, but there's just so much damage coming out of the Protoss. So much splash. So many Stalkers doing that bonus damage armor. Extended thermal lance from those Colossus is able to rain down fire on those roaches from a completely safe position inside that Guardian shield. He's going to move up now, start attacking the 3rd once again, and we'll see what Cephalopod has here to defend. It still hasn't moved up in tech tree, still continues to kill roaches. That's the thing with roaches, they're not the strongest units, but there's just so many of them. It's just, they can overwhelm you if you don't keep a handle on it. But it is starting to slip away from Cephalopod. Just didn't have enough to deal with it. Another 16 lings in production. Going to try to circle pulling the boys. Now just trying to get some linebackers for those roaches. 3rd Colossus shows up. That's going to be difficult to deal with. And like that, the excellent robo timing attack. Hu Yu takes the 4th game for Google.
Yeah, definitely some back and forth there for a little bit, and kind of snowball not being able to really move up out of roaches. This Ling Roach Not exactly the best composition for that, but tried to position as well as they could. But Google pulling out the fourth win of the day there for a clean sweep. Congratulations to them, and moving on. More Starcraft being played other places today, but for us, going to be tapering off for today, coming back next week.
That's right. We'll be here again next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, for more CEA action. Week 5, we continue to see if the Red Hatlings can break their streak here, run of bad luck, and really looking forward to seeing